Hello and welcome to this Army Roster Showcase video for Total War Warhammer 2, where we take a look at the Tomb Kings. So I know I'm a little late to the party with the Tomb Kings. They've been out for quite a few months, but I've sort of been holding off picking them up because I've been waiting for this big Resurgence update, which incorporates Northscar, the Regiments of Renown, all into the Mortal Empires campaign. So I decided to pick these guys up at the same time, and I'm pretty amazed at how big their roster is. It's a pretty extensive roster, a lot of different unit types. So we're just going to break this down into the Lords, Heroes, Infantry, Ranged, Cavalry, and then finally Monstrous units, and they've got quite a large selection of those. We've also got some Regiments of Renown thrown in here as well. So yeah, this is a pretty complete and extensive and varied roster, so I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into these guys in the campaign. So let's begin with our Legendary Lord. Now they get 4 Lords to choose between, but I've selected Cetra. He's like the main guy, I guess you could say. He's got a pretty cool chariot mount. So let's take a look at these. Now, as with my other army roster videos, these won't be very in-depth looks at the stats. They're more about looking at the models themselves, so we can take a good look at them, because I really love the unit models in the Warhammer games. You can see some nice attention to detail on his chariot there, and he's a very eager driver. Let's take a look at what he can actually do. So he's a spellcaster, he's armoured, he's armour piercing, anti-infantry, and he has a ton of spells. Now I believe they actually get a new type of magic as well with the Tomb Kings. I'm not totally sure about that, but we'll take a look when we look at these priests. So that's Cetra, very cool. But let's take a look at these priests. So you get 3 different types of priests here. You get a priest, a lich priest with light, Nehekara. That must be the new one, I presume. Let's take a quick look at that. So they get an augment, direct damage, a new vortex spell, which looks pretty cool. Sekhmet's incantation of the Skull Storm. I'm not going to be able to say any of these. Curse Blades, that's a pretty neat one. 20% weapon damage and armor piercing damage, and 44% physical resistance. Wow, that's pretty good. So they get the Nehekara magic. They also get light, and they get dex as well. Let's take a look at these guys. These guys look pretty cool. See them with his curved blade there. Slight variation on the models. That guy's got a much funkier hat. And these guys all get the upgrade of the skeletal horse. You see a nice little bit of detail there with the scarab. Now for other hero units, we also get, bring back the UI, the Necrotect. He's a whip infantry. Now that's a new one for me. I don't know what a whip infantry guy does, but I assume he whips people. He's got a very cool hat. There's a nice little scorpion. So he's anti-infantry, so I assume he's a melee type hero. Doesn't have any spells. He does have a regeneration ability, which is pretty neat. He's got a very cool mask. Looks like a Hand of Nod from the CNC games, or Tower of Nod. It's been a while since I played those. So he's got a whip, and I believe the new Dark Elf unit also gets whips. It's a new thing. Okay, then we have our final hero unit, which is the Tomb Prince, Halbert infantry, armoured anti-infantry and melee expert. So he's another melee heavy lord, or should I say hero. Now I'm going to speed through a few of these units because we've got so many to get through. Really nice detail on these guys. Okay, so yep, that's our heroes and our lord. Let's move on to our infantry. So these are standard skeletal warriors, shielded, meat shield. Yeah, these are just your basic bog standard infantry. But they still look pretty cool. Some nice detail on those shields. They look like they're having fun. Yeah, what's their stats like? Terrible, terrible, terrible stats. Melee attack 18, weapons from charge bonus 5. Not great. But we then move on to the skeletal spearmen, also bog standard infantry, but I guess you just... I'm pretty sure in the campaign, these guys you can just recruit for free, so you don't really care if you lose them. Yep, same sort of guys, same sort of unit models, just with spears. Let's move on to something a little more powerful. Nehekara warriors, sword infantry. Now these guys are great. These guys, dual swords, anti-infantry, damage dealers, 45 armor compared to what was that for these guys? 10. So yeah, these guys are going to be your more heavy hitters for your infantry. Very nice. Let's take a look at their backs. You see their ribs sticking out there. Okay, next up we have King Nekeka's Scorpion Legion. So these are a regiment of renowned spear infantry. So they get 45 armor, which is pretty good. They also get poison attacks. And these guys are really nice. I really like that black design they've got on them there. Black and red. Very distinct. He seems to like it. Okay, what's next? We got the Tomb Guard. So yeah, okay, these are going to be the main one. We also got Halberts. And there's quite a lot, there's a few more, so we're moving to the top tier now. So you've got your standard Tomb Guard, armoured and shielded, anti-infantry. I imagine these during the late game will be your main front line. Really good leadership 60. Pretty good HP there as well. Yeah, these guys look pretty tough. And these guys look great. Look at these little masks they've got on for some of them. Once again, really nice detail on these units. Let's just spin it around. Really nice looking swords. So then we have the Tomb Guard with Halberts. So similar look. These guys are anti-large. Oh wow, I really love those Halberts. Look at those. The little jackal head. Nice little detail there. And on the blade itself you can see some hieroglyphics. And you see some skulls. Well, it's Warhammer. There's got to be skulls on something. Everything needs skulls, apparently. Okay, so we've got the Kep Guard. So these are a regiment of renowned Tomb Guard. Dual swords. Not sure I like the green. Not sure it suits them. But I wouldn't say that to their face. You can see, is that an eagle type head there with the jackal? That's nice. Has he got rings around his crotch? It's a little odd. Probably not very comfortable. So these guys get, all these guys get regeneration. That's pretty good. And they get magical attacks. Okay, so that's our infantry. So yeah, the Tomb Guard are going to be your high tier. The warriors are going to be your more sort of mid-game, and then you've got the trash units there. Let's go over to our missile. They only get 2 missile units for on the infantry wise. So they've got standard skeleton archers. So these are like your trash archers. But I imagine in the early game you load up on a dozen of these, they'll probably do a good job. And there's a regiment of renowned variation of these. These get armor sundering as well, which is pretty nice. So it might be worth having some of these guys around. I don't want to spend too long on the infantry because of course what everyone wants to see of the Tomb Kings are the monsters. But let's move on to cavalry. So they get this is their basic cavalry, spear, skeleton, horseman. And they get shields as well, which is nice, and vanguard deployment. It could be useful for scouting the enemy. So then we've got Necros Horsemen. So these are guys who are going to be a little tougher. They're shielded, they're anti-infantry. These would probably be the bulk of your cavalry in the game. And then we move on to, and they get quite a few different chariot units. So they've got standard skeleton chariot, once again the most basic one, the anti-infantry. Really nice detail there. And he's got a serpent. I really like the detail on these weapons. You've got the serpent, which are all the different type of Egyptian god styles. Very nice. And more skulls. So then we have missile cavalry on horseback. That's good. Very fast. Vanguard. Can these shoot while moving? It normally tells you up here if they can. Oh, these can fire whilst moving. That's good. So these guys could be very helpful in that sense. Let's take a look at that sword. Really nice. Now they also get a skeleton archer chariot, which I don't believe can fight. Causes fear. Can't fire while moving though. That's a shame. You could get these guys into melee as well because they are anti-infantry. Okay, so let's get on to the really fun stuff, which is the monsters. Or shall we? Well, let's do these guys first, the carrion, because they're probably the least exciting. They're just undead birds. They're very fast at the moment. They'll probably serve a similar function as the bats for the vampire counts. Use these to harass, say, archer units or artillery units. Just be a real nuisance. Yeah, they're moving a bit fast for me to really zoom in on. You get the idea. They're undead birds. They're not very strong, but they're good for harassing. So before we jump into the monsters, let's just take a look at the artillery. I saw this earlier and I had no clue what the hell it is, but it looks great. So you've got the catapult, but you've also got this basket of skulls. Just start like this. This looks amazing. It's magical artillery. It's armoured, armour-piercing missiles. It has light of death. So that sounds pretty fun. But look at this model. This is fantastic. So you've got a big pile of bones surrounded by another big pile of bones with beetles and scarabs and all kinds of crazy shit crawling around in it. And then you've got this dude here just chilling on top on this very cool. And look at the detail on this. This is fantastic. I love this. More skulls. Another very different variation on the sword as well, really nice. I love the variation on the weapons in these guys. There's a little platform he stands on. Now you've got the snakes coming out the eye sockets there. Another nice little detail. Yeah, that looks a lot of fun. Don't know how useful it would be, but missile damage 860, that's pretty impressive. Range 440, that's also pretty impressive. Okay, we'll have some fun with that. Okay, then we have the screaming skull catapult, armor piercing missiles, anti-infantry, range 380. What was the difference? 860 missile damage to 171. So it shows just how powerful this is. But yeah, I mean, as a catapult, I mean, even though it's not as strong, look at the detail on this. This is great. You can see a dude mummified. be curious to know what it actually throws at the enemy. Does it throw skulls at the enemy? And you see it's like a little big claw mobbing stuff at you. That's really nice. Okay, let's move on to the monsters, because that's all we really want to see. So we got Ushabati, monstrous infantry. And look at these guys. Armoured, armour piercing, anti-infantry. Really good weapons from 72. Really good armour 95 as well. They're not shielded. That might be a bit much if they were. These guys look pretty amazing. You can see the hieroglyphics there. It's a nice variation there on the faces. Is that the eagle there? And like a crocodile face. Yeah, really look at that detail there as well. Very nice. And even a nice little snake there motif. Okay, so those are the Ushabati. So these are monstrous infantry, pretty tough. And then we get Ushabati with a great bow. So they even get monstrous missile infantry. Wow, these guys look incredible. You can see they've got the great swords on the back there. It's got the quiver there. These guys look amazing. So these guys have a range 255. It's not the greatest. Well, it's not too bad. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you look at something like the High Elf Archers, they've got a range of about, what, 180 or so? So that's actually even better than them. Missile damage 124, so but still pretty good. I mean, let's take a look at, say, the arch units over here. Missile damage 16. That's a regiment of renown. Yeah. These guys are pretty tough. Okay, so what else we got here? Monstrous infantry. Sepulchral stalkers. I don't know what the hell these are, but they look amazing. Look at this guy. Armoured, armour piercing, anti-large and vanguard deployment. So these guys are armour piercing and they get poison? Damn. I should have picked up the Tomb Kings sooner. These guys look a ton of fun to play. Look at these units. Is it like a snake? Or some kind of bug? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it looks great. Really nice detail on the armour. And when you see these kinds of guys, you just think, how the hell can I go back to playing historical games? No offense to historical games. I'm sure I'll enjoy Three Kingdoms when it comes out, but you're not going to see anything like this in it. Look at these masks, these are wonderful. I could spend all day looking at these guys, but we should move on. Look at that, really nice detail on the weapons once again. They really, you can tell they put a lot of work into this DLC. So we've got a regiment of renown here, chosen of the gods. So these are Ushabati with the great bows. And some purple pinky stylings, very nice. Let's move on again. We don't want to be here all day. What have we done? We've done those, on those, on those. Propolis Knights. Holy shit, so it's those same... So these guys are like giant snakes with dudes riding on their back. Monstrous cavalry, armoured and shield armor and poison attacks. And look at the detail on these units. Lots of skulls. Wouldn't be Warhammer without a lot of skulls. Where'd the dude go? I must have zoomed in too much. Stop. There we go. keeps popping in and out of existence. But he's having a great time up there. I'm not sure how well he's going to balance on that thing, but I guess he's undead, so it doesn't really matter. So these guys look great. Okay, so we have Eyes of the Desert. So these are more stalkers, but a regiment of renown. So these guys get stalked, so they can move hidden in any terrain. Wouldn't want to see these guys pop up on in front of you, would you? It's a nice blue and gold look to them there. And they've got, I like the shimmer, they've got a nice gold shimmer. Very nice. Okay, so then we've got Necropolis Knights with the Halberds. So just the same as the other guys, but they've got the pointy sticks. I won't let me zoom in on these guys for some reason. They don't want to be seen. But they do look very nice. Let's be a bit sneaky. Nope, doesn't like it. Okay, what else we got here? A Tomb Scorpion. Oh boy, look at this one. Armoured, armour-piercing, anti-infantry, and causes terror. Well, that's not a surprise. I mean, look at this face. Nice big claws there, and you can see all these lovely hieroglyphics drawn in its body. And it's even got a skull on its pincer there. And it is like a laser beam thing. It wouldn't surprise me. If you see my other videos, you know I don't know that much about Warhammer. A lot of the times. And look, there's a dude. There's a dude inside of it. There's a mummified dude. Yeah, I don't know that much about Warhammer, so you know, for me, this is the first time I've seen these models or units. It's a lot of fun. Okay, what else we got here? Now, Bone Giant. Now, this is the new guy. So he was just added in with the Resurgent update. A lot of people were very excited about this. Because I don't know jack about Warhammer, I was like, oh, it's a new unit, that's pretty cool. But I can see why people were happy. I mean, look at this guy, it's great. He's armoured, he has armour-piercing missiles, and yet he causes terror. 545 missile damage, 400 weapon strength. And that's magical attacks as well. It's pretty impressive. You'd want him on your team. Very nice. Okay, what else have we got? We've still got 4 more units to go. There we go. Okay, so what is this? This is the... Yeah, we've done that one. The Cimmerian War Sphinx. Armoured, armour-piercing, anti-infantry, and causes terror. 480 weapon strength. Has missile damage as well. I guess you've got these dudes on the back with bows. That's pretty neat. So, what kind of role do you think this would play? Armor piercing. Yeah, I guess you just tear this up through a front line. Get these guys shooting from the back. It's like an Egyptian mammoth. That's probably the best way to think of it. Similar to the mammoths that Norska have, where you've got the dudes riding on their backs with javelins. You put this into a line and it will just tear shit up. Very nice. So that's the War Sphinx. We then have the Hero Titan Magical Monster. Now I saw this in the trailer and it seems to shoot laser beams from its eyes, which is great. It's a spellcaster, so it actually has some spells. So it has a Shem's Burning Gaze, magic missile spell, and a Spirit Leech as well. That's pretty useful. 550 weapon strength. Damn, these Tomb Kings, they got some strong units. It's got the scales there. Really nice detail on those. And more skulls. Skulls everywhere. And another one. And look at that lovely detail there. Really nice. Yeah, I definitely want one of those. Okay, what's next? Okay, we've got two left. The Necros Finks. Armoured, armour piercing. They get a lot of armoured and armour piercing stuff. He's anti-large and causes terror. This guy, you know, this is like, if you're going to be facing off against monsters yourself, you want one of these. It just looks tough. It's so bulky and heavily armoured. And so impressively decorated as well. If you could count every skull, there would be a lot. It looks a bit grumpy. And he's got a little scorpion on his head. Maybe that's what he's upset about. Nice tail there. It's a really nice looking unit. And then we have finally the Regiment of Renown, the Sphinx of Uzbek. I guess that's how you say it. Armoured arm percent large. So let's just compare the stats. So this guy has 1,000 more armour. So in a way, the Regiment of Renown really, well, it gets the bonus of the magical attacks and what looks like flaming attacks. It also has more health. So yeah, it's pretty much better in that sense. Let's take a look at that. So it's basically the same unit, but with a nice sort of red and gold. That's more of a black and gold there. Very nice though. Some white detailing there. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, which is just always a brief look at all the unit models for the Tomb Kings. And like I said, it's a really extensive, really varied roster, which I like. Reminds me a little of the Norse roster, which had a nice mix of all different unit types, including a lot of monster types. So yeah, I'd say you're getting some pretty good bang for your buck with this DLC, and of course you're getting 4 legendary lords to pick between. We've only had one showcase here today. So yeah, I'm pretty eager to get stuck into these guys in a campaign. Might play the Vortex campaign with these guys first. Don't think I want to play more Empires with these guys yet. I'd like to play them on the smaller scale first. Get a feel for them. They've got a lot of really nice options here, depending on how you want to build your army. It's going to be hard to fit all of these units into one army. But I'm definitely want some of these kinds of guys. These guys are great. Yes, I'm really quite impressed with this. This is a really extensive roster. Really nice looking, really nice detail on those units. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing as these guys. Okay, so let's wrap up this video. So I don't know if this will be the last race pack released for Warhammer 2. I'm not quite sure if there's anything else they can really add into the New World area. So we may not see any other new races until Warhammer 3. But as I said, don't know that much about Warhammer, but I don't think there's anything they're really missing now that's major. It'll be more smaller units or sort of unit packs and lord packs and things. But yeah, this is a pretty impressive piece of content by the looks of it, and I'm looking forward to playing the campaign. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this little look at the Tomb Kings, and I'll see you in the next one.